Have you ever heard the saying that one small act of kindness can change the entire course of your life? Imagine this: a poor young black man, his suit a little too old, his shoes a little too worn, his resume folded neatly in the pocket of his jacket, walking down a busy road with hope burning in his chest, carrying a dream bigger than the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders, heading for what could be the most important job interview of his life, one that might finally lift him and his struggling mother out of years of poverty and hardship. But then fate decides to test him in a way he never could have prepared for. His name was Daniel, just 23, brilliant, hardworking. But life had never given him anything easily. His father had walked out when he was just a boy, leaving his mother to raise him and his younger sister alone in a cramped apartment where the electricity was sometimes cut off and the fridge was often empty. But Daniel never complained. Instead, he studied under the dim light of a candle, he worked small jobs to help with rent, he skipped meals so his sister could eat, and through it all, he held on to one belief that if he just kept going, one day he would be able to give his family the life they deserved. That morning, Daniel had woken up early, ironed his only suit, and whispered a prayer over the resume he had printed out at the library. A resume that spoke of persistence and determination more than privilege, and he set out walking to the bus stop, rehearsing answers to interview questions in his head, heart pounding with both nerves and excitement. But destiny has its own timing, doesn't it, dear viewers? Because as Daniel hurried along that busy road, with cars rushing past and people lost in their own worlds, he heard a scream, a sharp, desperate cry for help that pierced through the noise of the city and made him freeze. His eyes darted toward the sound, and there, just a few steps away, he saw a young woman struggling on the side of the road, her car hood open, smoke billowing out, and then, as if fate wanted to test him even harder, he saw her stumble, fall to her knees, and cry out again as a speeding motorcycle swerved dangerously close to her. Without thinking, Daniel dropped his folder of documents and sprinted toward her. He reached out just in time, pulling her out of harm's way, his heart pounding as the motorcycle zoomed past without even stopping. The woman, clearly shaken, clutched her chest, tears streaming down her face, whispering thank you over and over, her voice trembling. Daniel knelt beside her, asking if she was okay, brushing dirt off her arm where she had scraped it. She nodded weakly but admitted her car had broken down and she had been stuck there for nearly an hour, no one stopping to help her. For a brief moment, Daniel forgot about the time, forgot about the interview, forgot about everything except making sure she was safe. He checked her car, used the little mechanical knowledge he had from years of fixing broken appliances at home, and managed to calm her down until roadside assistance finally arrived. But by the time he looked at his watch again, panic surged through his veins so he was already late. He grabbed his folder, papers now slightly crumpled from the fall, and ran as fast as he could, lungs burning, praying he could still make it. But when he arrived at the tall glass building where the interview was being held, sweat dripping down his forehead, he was met with a receptionist's cold eyes and the crushing words, "I'm sorry, the interview panel has left." "You're too late," Daniel tried to explain, his voice pleading, but the receptionist only shook her head, dismissing him with a look that said she didn't believe his story. Defeated, heart-heavy, Daniel walked out of that building, his dreams slipping through his fingers like sand. What he didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that the young woman he had saved on the road wasn't just anyone. She was Maya Johnson, a CEO of one of the fastest-growing companies in the city, a woman with influence, power, and resources, someone whose word could open doors that had always been slammed shut in Daniel's face. And though Daniel left that place feeling like life had once again robbed him of an opportunity, Maya couldn't stop thinking about the stranger who had risked his time, maybe even his future, to save her without asking for anything in return. That night, while Daniel sat at the kitchen table, head in his hands, wondering how he would break the news to his mother that he didn't get the job, Maya sat in her office, replaying the moment over and over in her mind, realizing that sometimes the people you're meant to meet don't come into your life by accident. And dear viewers, this is where the story begins, a story not just about sacrifice, but about destiny, about how a single selfless act can ignite a chain of events that no one could ever predict. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, everything changes. The girl he saved, the CEO he never recognized, is about to step into Daniel's world in a way that will shake the foundation of his life forever. But before we dive into that, if you feel your heart beating a little faster, if you believe in fate and kindness and the power of second chances, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. A broken bar. The next morning, Daniel woke up with a heaviness in his chest that pressed harder than the thin blanket he pulled over himself at night. The cracked ceiling above him seemed to mock him, the faded paint peeling like pieces of the dreams he had lost the day before. His mother tried to hide her disappointment when he told her about missing the interview, but Daniel could see the flicker of worry in her eyes as she stirred a pot of oatmeal on the stove, stretching what little they had for breakfast. His younger sister, full of hope and innocence, squeezed his hand and whispered, "Don't give up, Danny, God's watching." Her faith was unshakable, even when life wasn't kind. But Daniel, a broken bar, he felt crushed, wondering if kindness had cost him everything. Yet somewhere across the city, Maya Johnson, the woman whose life he had unknowingly risked his future to save, sat in her sleek office, staring out the window of her skyscraper, replaying every detail of their encounter. She had grown up in privilege, but she wasn't blind to hardship. Her own father had once been a poor man with nothing but grit and determination, and she had heard him say many times, "The world doesn't need more wealthy people, it needs more good people." And yesterday, stranded and terrified on that road, she had seen a good man. She had seen courage. She had seen Daniel. That image lingered in her mind as she called her assistant and gave a simple but firm instruction: "Find him. I don't know his name, but find him." Meanwhile, Daniel trudged through the streets, clutching his resume like a lifeline, knocking on doors, facing rejection after rejection. Some places laughed at his outdated suit. Others barely looked at his papers before shaking their heads. By midday, his stomach growled, but he pressed on, unwilling to return home without trying. As he passed the Cafe Tilde Copyright, he saw a help wanted sign in the window.